Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tresia Hamufungu. I'm a student teacher at IOM, and our topic for today is about types of business activity. Let's start with the objective of these types of business activity. The objective is to understand the difference between the public and private sector, to acquire knowledge and understanding of the classification of different types of business activity or stage of production, to understand the methods of measuring the size of the business. So whenever we are talking about business activity, we are talking about any activity related to the purpose of making a profit. So let's look at public and private sector. So when we are talking about public sector, we are talking about the sector that are owned and controlled by the local and central government. For example, parastatals such as NBC, NamPower, NAMCO, and municipality. So the purpose of public sector is to provide goods and services that cannot be left to private sector business such as health, education, public transport, and telecommunication. Another purpose of public sector is to reduce unemployment in the company. Also to keep the price of goods and services low so that everybody can afford a service or goods. And when we talk about private sector, we talk about all businesses that are owned by private individuals or a group of individuals not linked to the state. For example, businesses owned privately, such as sole traders, partnership, or company with a profit motive. So the main purpose of private sector is to make profit from their business operating. Then let's move to the next slide, which is about nationalization and privatization. So whenever we are talking about nationalization, we are talking about the process of transferring ownership and control of a private sector business into a public sector business or government. So some private business are nationalized for the reason to make important service such as health and education affordable to every nation. Also for national security, especially in industries such as transport, electricity, and airways. Then we look at the advantage and disadvantage of nationalization. So the advantage of nationalization is to prevent the closing down of those businesses that are struggling, that are essential for the economy. So such business will benefit from the government financial support. Also, it can make the public interest in industries such as railway service. Then about the disadvantage of this nationalization is that there are no close competition. There are lack of incentive to increase efficiency and consumer choice. There are no shareholders that insist on high profit and efficiency. Then let's look at privatization. So privatization is the process of transferring the ownership of the business or industries from the state to the private sector. So the important or the advantage of this privatization is that there are no political involvement and decisions are only for businesses reason. Good services in privatization is offered to customers since more capital is invested in the business. Also, the competition increases, which encourage efficiency and keep the price low. That's the good of privatization. Then let's look at disadvantage of privatization. So the disadvantage of privatization is that only some people benefit from owning a business, and people may lose their job, And also, business may run as a monopoly. Yeah, sorry. Okay, let's look at different types of business activity in the primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. So, primary sector, when we talk about primary sector, we talk about the activities which include the harvesting, extraction of raw material from the nature environment, like from water, plant sources, ground, and sea. And example of primary sector industry are mining sector or mining company, fishing company, forestry, and farming company. And then when we talk about secondary sector, we talk about the process of raw material from the primary sector and supplies it to the tertiary sector. Example of this sector industries are clothing, food processing, and the construction. Okay, let's look at tertiary sector. This sector referring to the activities which includes bringing the product from the secondary sector to the end consumers, transport of people, communication, and many other services like education, health, and banking. Yeah, that's all about these three sectors in business activities. Then let's talk about the method of measuring the business size. The method of measuring the business size are sales revenue, profit, market share, market capitalization, number of employees. So on sales revenue, they look at the amount of money a company generates from its sales. And on profit, they look at the amount of company's profit in a company's profit, like the profit of the company in a given time. Let me say in annually, how much is the company made within a year? That's how they measure the business size. Also on market share, they look at the value of company sales revenue expressed as a percentage of the industry total sales revenue in a given time. Then market capitalization, here they look at the total value of all company shares issued to the general public. And lastly, the number of employees. They look at the total number of employees who work in that business in a given moment in time. So that's how the business size can be measured. Let's move to the next slide, which is about how small business or firms survive. So small business or firms render a personal or specialized service in order to maintain satisfaction of their customers. Small firms also can easily make changes and do innovation than large firms. They also strive towards professional customer care service. Also, small firms survive from the government assistance and state aid in the form of subsidies, grants, as well as tax incentives and relief. They often relatively easily to establish and generally do not require complex laws and procedures to set them up. That's how small business firms survive. So we are at our conclusion for this topic, where I can just say that business carry out activities such as producing goods or providing service with the aim of selling goods or providing service with the aim of selling them to customers and making profit. Therefore, the main purpose of business activities is to provide goods and service that customers want at a price they are willing to pay. Thank you. This is the end of our discussion for today. Thank you for your time and consideration. See you next time again. Bye.